So Burma, as we know, people all eat meat and this thing. So every culture, every society has some delicacy. Especially when Prabhupada would hold kirtans, devotees would gather, some festivals. So invariably we have feast. So devotees would make puris, and they would fry the puris in pure ghee. A lot of neighbors would complain, what is this bad smell coming? The ghee smell, it's very nauseating for them. See how Satoguna and Tamoguna, how diametrically opposite. They are really, hey, close it, come and complain. What is this smell? And then, so devotees, whatever, Prabhupada in one lecture said, we never stopped. So it was intolerable for them, ghee smell. And the delicacy in Burma, every culture has some delicacy, something which they seek to have, or it is very, especially in festivals they have something called as nafi, a drink called nafi. It is mentioned in Vedapes also, Naphi, nafi. So what is this nafi? Whenever they would cook meat, there will be some portion of meat which cannot be eaten, some feathers, some scales, or some intestines, or something which cannot be eaten, or rather should not be eaten. So they would put in a jar, and close the lid of the jar. Just like we do make pickle, you put mango, you put whatever ingredients, masala and all that, and leave it for 1 month, 2 months. Then it, the whole process inside happens, and after 1 or 2 months it becomes nice pickle. The mango becomes soft. So nafi, they would keep putting all this dead parts, remnants of the meat and whatever this thing, 6 months, 8 months, and it would all ferment. Bhagavatam class we should not discuss. It would ferment. These days there are many fermented drinks in the market for probiotic, for bacteria, fermented, kafir, so many things are there. So this would ferment, and when it ferments, the liquid will come out. And after 6 or 8 months, they will stain out that liquid. And that delicacy, that very nectarian liquid is called nafi. And when big festival will happen, everyone will get small glass of that nafi drink, and they will cherish, wow, beautiful. So how in Tamoguna, that is their delicacy. And ghee is abominable. And for us to hear that nafi is so abominable, and we cherish puris made of ghee. So this is the extreme of how modes influence, how our thinking, feeling, taste influence. I have shared this earlier. When I was very young, in vacations when we would go to Delhi, and Delhi is a place where a lot of street food. You would get tikki, you'll get this thing. This was not there in the place where I used to stay. So it was always, I used to look forward for visiting Delhi on summer vacation, and would go and eat in all this street food, chaat. And one young cousin, she would also accompany me, and she would also look forward to me visiting on summer vacations. Bhaiya aayenge, and then we would go to all these places and eat. So always she would wait for me, and she would, because otherwise she'll not get much opportunity. Her parents won't allow. And when I would come, I also liked, and she also liked, and she would accompany me. So Bhaiya became Krishna conscious. And Bhaiya again came to Delhi. And she was looking forward that was 6 months after I came to Krishna conscious. Then she is looking forward for my visit, and then I came, and then she is anticipating, waiting, okay, we'll go to all this thing, but Bhaiya lost taste. I'm not going, and she is getting perturbed, and she is noticing Bhaiya is eating salad, Bhaiya is eating fruits. And then when I went to Bangalore, I stayed with them in their place. I was very fond of tender coconuts, I was very fond of fruits, and she would not like it. She would not like tender coconut, phika phika. So this is, I could see that how modes, and she had started eating non-veg because of friend circle. She was in Bishop Cotton School, and all her friends started eating chicken and all that. So how the taste gets also influenced by the gunas which are influenced. This is exactly what said. The demoniac nature look forward for tamasic thing. These days, the Zomato and this thing, all are making so. When I went to Mumbai last time, I reached late. Because flight was late, and I reached late at around 1:30 in the night. Around 2 o'clock in the night, I was going up the lift. One Zomato person is also going. He is carrying that. I said, 2 baje? बोला पूरी रात खाते हैं लोग. I said, ये खुला हुआ है क्या सब कुछ, ये होटल खुले होते हैं. इसे आगे से शटर बंद होता है, पीछे सब चल रहा होता है. Whole night people are ordering. This is tamoguna. 2 o'clock you're eating chicken butter masala, and then sleeping at 3 o'clock, waking up at 12 o'clock. And the more people are going out of schedule, the more they think that they are free, independent, maja kar. But real taste is if we are regulated, one who is regulated in his eating, sleeping, recreation and work, can mitigate all material pains arising from material contact. People think regulation, discipline means you're curtailing your independence. That's why we have a presentation called Regulative Principles of Freedom. These are all opposite terms, regulation and freedom. People think freedom means no regulation. Anything which comes in the mind, you can do. This is demoniac mentality. Whereas a devotee knows that in regulation there is real freedom. In regulation there is real enjoyment. Momentarily it may look like we are subjected to so many do's and don'ts, but the real enjoyment is in regulated life, disciplined life. And even many karmis have now recognized. All these big achievers, successful men, if you see their podcast or something, they're talking about how sleeping early, getting good night's sleep, waking up early in the morning, having morning rituals, going for a walk, doing exercises, having a good morning routine, go to the gym. Even in Mumbai, I've seen many successful people. They get up in the morning, they go for a walk, they go for running. So the demons like twilight, they like night life. So we also as devotees should cultivate sattva guna. Our taste will change, our activities will change, our thinking, feeling, willing will change. And the Bhagavatam says, Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha tayasche. What happens with tamo and rajo bhava? Kama, lobha, all that will become manifest. Chete ete anaviddam sthitam sattve prasidati. Chete ete, this will pierce our heart, they will burn in our heart. What will burn? All this lust and greed. Will be goaded by lust and greed. Do this, eat this, see this, watch this. We know it is wrong, knowing doing gap will increase under the influence of tamoguna and rajoguna. And all the instructions of Prabhupada, all what he has prescribed, get up early in the morning, do Mangalarti, do the sadhana, do your chanting, Brahma Muhurta time, is all not only Shuddha Sattva, Vishuddha Sattva, transcendental, even higher than Sattva-guna. And if we do our morning sadhana, cultivate Sattva-guna, spiritual life becomes easy. It is not at all tough. Susukum kartum aveyam. If we are in tamoguna and rajoguna, it is tough. Chanting will be a struggle, reading will be a struggle, you will feel sleepy, you will feel body pain will be there, getting up will be, laziness will be there, let 5 minutes, sleep will be to come out of the bed will be very painful. But if Sattva-guna is there and properly situated, morning time is joyful time. Waking up is a festival. Bathing in cold water is the best thing to do. Tamoguna, opposite. Today is Prabhupada Diksha Divas, so I'll read few interesting quotes. And in 1922, one of Abhay's closest friend, Narendra Malik, met monks from Gaudiya Math, a Vaishnava institution, and the monks invited him to meet their guru. Many sannyasis came knocking at his door looking for donations. Who could tell what their motives were? The greater danger was inadvertently giving money to monks who indulged in sex or ate meat. Abhay declined. So when his friend invited Abhay, Narendra invited Abhay to visit Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he declined. From childhood, he said, he has seen cheaters dressed like monks exploit his father's charitable nature. They took Gaur Mohan's donation, stepped outside the door and lit up marijuana cigarettes. Abhay recalled seeing one of their boarders dressed in saffron robes gulp down a cup of tea, finish a cigarette and then grab his water pot and staff and head out of the door to collect his daily sadhu's donation. Abhay had no patience for such people. I am not going, he told Narendra. There were more pressing matters. Come on, Narendra insisted. As a courtesy to his friend, Abhay agreed to be dragged along. They arrived at a building on Ultadanda, Junction Road in North Calcutta. A sign over the door announced that one-story structure was headquarters of the Gaudiya Math, the monastery of Greater India. They greeted the two guests and brought them to the front of the gathering to meet the head of their mission. Even seated, Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura's stature was obvious to Abhay. This was not another pretended sadhu. He seemed at least 6 feet tall. It is not complete. I have taken some excerpts, so don't display that. He seemed at least 6 feet tall and ran ramrod straight. His forehead was broad and high, his color fair. He was son of the late Bhaktivinoda Thakura, respected former head of the Vaishnava community and prolific author and poet, and his own right, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, demonstrated the character and wisdom of a true Acharya. Abhay and Narendra touched their foreheads to the ground in the traditional way of greeting a holy person. Something about Abhay must have impressed itself upon Bhaktisiddhanta, as barely had Abhay stood up when Bhaktisiddhanta said, "You are an educated young man. Why don't you take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and spread it in English to the Western world?" See, first time Prabhupada, Abhay is meeting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, just paid obeisances, got up, and this is the instruction which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving. And this is the instruction which Prabhupada, for the rest of his life, meditated on and executed. Why don't you take up Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and spread it in English to the Western world? This is in the first meeting After paying obeisances, the line spoken by Bhaktisiddhanta. In years to come, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would describe that he hesitated when his Guru issued the instruction that changed his life. Leave everything and travel to the West? How could he do that? Of course, Abhay knew quite a bit about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His father and mother had raised him as a Chaitanya follower, and since childhood he had been chanting Hare Krishna as Mahaprabhu had taught. But aside from an astrologer's questionable prediction, nothing in the profile of Abhay's life suggested he would become a religious leader. He and his wife Radharani had a 1-year-old daughter and was planning to have more children. He earned an honest living and paid his bill and left the religious grandstanding to others. Sir, Abhay said, who will hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message as long as we are a dependent nation? Let us first achieve our independence. Then we shall spread Indian culture. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati disagreed. Mahaprabhu's message did not depend on politics. Real independence, he said, meant freeing the soul from the shackles of illusion. Doctrines of impersonalism and voidism pervaded India's thinking. These dangerous ideas decrying the personhood of God were the true enemies, not the British. See, we all, year after year, Independence Day. Actually, it's such a shallow understanding of independence. People think that, Britishers have gone, now we are independent. And with great, you see, on 15th August, all patriotic songs you can hear in loudspeakers. But such a shallow understanding of independence. So Prabhupada many places says, the real bondage is the cycle of birth and death. Birth, death, old age, disease. So that's how Prabhupada is explaining that in the first meeting when he said, Prabhupada opposed. He said, what is this? Without independence, how can we even talk about this? Despite his attraction to nationalism, something in the brief exchange with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quickly quickened Abhay's pulse. They had not spoken long, maybe an hour, but in that short space of time, Bhaktisiddhanta managed to refute Abhay's assumption that God took a backseat to politics and that independence offered is a lasting solution to India's woes. India suffered from lack of spiritual revolution, Bhaktisiddhanta argued, and campaigning for political independence merely distracted more from the more critical campaign launched by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reinstate God in his creation. British rule was irrelevant. Not only India, but all of humanity needed liberating. The next day, Abhay walked into the office of his employer, Dr. Karthik Chandra Bose, and he resigned. Bose had been the Day family's doctor for more than 20 years, and he had watched Abhay grow up. The elder physician appreciated the personal touch Abhay always brought to their customers, such as answering requests for pricing with handwritten letters. But Bose also recognized how headstrong Abhay could be and knew better than to question his plans. I understand your attraction to this teacher, Bose said. Still, you are a family man. I'll give you a franchisee to my company's product. Sell wherever you like, whenever you like. The commission will be more than your current salary and you will still have time for their pursuits. See, another thing, Prabhupada wanted to join and fulfill whatever instruction he had received from this thing. But Bose is giving a very nice offer. He's saying whatever salary you get, you leave the job. You can sell whenever you want, wherever you want, work as much as you want, and still it will be more than the salary you get. This is something which Maya does when someone wants to take up Krishna consciousness and become a devotee. All of you would have experienced. Maya gives allurements, gives this thing. So this is how tempting offer was made. Abhay weighed his option. What was work or money or even family compared to the instruction he had received on the roof of Gaudiya Mutt? Bhaktisiddhanta had opened his eyes to the meaning of Krishna's devotion. And taking Krishna's message to the West was no trifling matter. It would not happen between sales calls. Still, Bose had a point. No one travels abroad without funds, and pharmaceutical had potential. India was ripe for Indian-made goods, and Bose prices were better than those of British. Maybe he could save some money and then go west. Abhay agreed to Bose's offer to start a franchisee. The talk with his wife did not go as well. So when he spoke to his wife, Radharani did not share her husband's enthusiasm, political, religious or otherwise. And here he was telling her Gandhi had it wrong and that he would be going to the West. There was no witness or diaries from which to assess her reaction to Abhay's meeting with Bhaktisiddhanta. But when they married, it is likely she did not envision becoming a missionary's wife. There's another excerpt from Srila Prabhupada on the occasion of disappearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada. So when I met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of my friends, he dragged me. I was at that time nationalist and a manager in a big chemical factory. My age was about 24 years. So one of my friends, he asked me, this is a nice sadhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He has come in Calcutta. So let us go and see. I was reluctant. I thought just like so, there are so many sadhus. So I was not very much interested. But because I had very bad experience, not very good, I said, oh, these kind of sadhus, there are many. You'll be glad to know that even in the young age or early age, it was Krishna's grace. Even amongst my young friends, I was considered the leader. In my school days, in my college days, in my private friendship, some way or other I became their leader. And one astrologer, sometimes he read my hand. He said in Hindi, Hukum chalena. Hukum chalena means your hand speaks that your order will be executed. Devotees, Jai. Prabhupada. So anyway, it was Krishna's grace. I would not go. But their point of view was that unless I certify that sadhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he will not be accepted. Therefore he dragged me. So I went to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on that day. On the first meeting, just after we offered our obeisances, it is a practice. So immediately he began his talking that you are all educated young men. Why don't you take up Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult and preach all over the English-knowing public? Why don't you take up this matter? So I argued with him in so many ways. At that time I was a nationalist. So I told him, who will accept our message? We are a dependent nation. Nobody will care. In this way, in my own way, in the younger days, but we belong to the Vaishnava family. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Radha Govinda, that is our worshipable deity. So I was very glad that Radha Krishna cult, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult, this sadhu is trying to preach it. It's very nice. So at that time we had some talks, and of course I was defeated by his arguments. And then when we came out, we were offered prasadam, very nice treatment, the Gaudiya Math. And when I came out on the street, my friend asked me, what is your opinion of this sadhu? Then I said that here is a right person who has taken up Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, and now it will be distributed. Devotees, Jai. Prabhupada. So I was at that time a fool, but I opined like that, and I accepted him as my spiritual master immediately. Not officially, but in my heart. That was in 1922. So Prabhupada explains that how, in many places he also explains that a real initiation, what is real initiation and what is formal initiation. Although formal initiation has importance, but we should understand what is real initiation. Real initiation is accepting the spiritual master in your heart. His instruction becomes your life and soul. Somebody may not be formally initiated, but can accept somebody in his heart and surrender to him. The opposite also true. Somebody can have formal initiation, but lose relationship. So he said, not officially, but in my heart. When was that? In the first meeting in 1922. And what is the proof that he accepted? One instruction he gave, he meditated on that, contemplated, always wanting to fulfill that instruction. If you get an opportunity, preach this message in the Western world. Srila Prabhupada, my wife was a devotee of Krishna, but she had some other idea. Her idea was just to worship the deity at home and live peacefully. My idea was preaching. Another reference, Prabhupada's letter to Hanuman Prasad Poddar. So anyway, from 1922 to 1933, practically I was not initiated, but I got the impression of preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult. That I was thinking, and that was the initiation by my Guru Maharaj. I passed on as a householder, but by causeless mercy of my divine grace, that order of preaching was impressed on my heart. I was initiated regularly in 1932 at Allahabad when Sir Malcolm Haley, the then governor of UP, opened our Gaudiya Math branch there. Another quote, and in 1933 I was officially initiated, and my only qualification was when I was introduced to my Guru Maharaj for initiation. So Guru Maharaj immediately said, yes, I shall initiate this boy. He is very nice. He hears me very patiently. He does not go away. So that was my qualification. The high standard of philosophy which he was speaking at that time, practically I could not follow what he was speaking, but still I liked to hear him. That was my hobby. Whenever I was asking that, whenever Guru Maharaj will speak, so he took it very seriously. One place, Prabhupada was asked, you speak so well, so many people have taken up to Krishna consciousness. You have written such wonderful books. What is the secret? So he says, my only qualification is that I heard attentively. And here it says, in the beginning, when he was speaking at that time, practically I could not follow what he was speaking, but still I heard. See, we are so fortunate, we are able to understand. So, how important it is to hear attentively. So he took it very seriously. Sometime later, Bhakti Siddhanta lectured on a crowd that assembled for a parikrama or walking tour of Mayapur, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Guru Maharaj was looking out at the large crowd of devotees. Nayananda Das Babaji recalled. Then he turned his head towards the left side where I was standing. He was looking intently at someone behind me and began silent for a long time. I turned and saw that the person with whom he was making eye contact was Abhay Charanaravind Prabhu. I have a prediction, Bhakti Siddhanta announced. However long in the future it may be, one of the disciples will cross the ocean. That devotee will bring back the whole world. Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj ordered me, you do this, but I thought, let me first of all become a rich man, then I shall do. In the beginning I was thinking, now my god brothers have taken sannyas, they are begging from door to door. Why shall I beg? Let me earn money and start Krishna consciousness. You see how even Prabhupada, when he says that he took up the offer of starting the pharmacy, franchisee, his idea was not to make money and be a big businessman. The idea was that how to support the preaching, how to earn money, and why I shall beg, let me earn money and start Krishna consciousness. So from the very first meeting, the impression of preaching Krishna consciousness was implanted. Preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So even if he took up that franchise, it was to facilitate that preaching work. So few more things are there. This is the last letter of Prabhupada. Just 2 minutes we'll take. And following is an excerpt from volume 1 of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was in poor health at Jagannath Puri. Abhay was in Bombay. He wanted to write to his Guru Maharaj a letter. He is little kind upon me, Abhay thought. He will understand my request, and he began to write. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. You have got many disciples, and I am one of them, but they are doing direct service to you. Some of them are brahmacharis, some of them are sannyasis, but I am a householder. I cannot. Sometimes I give monetary help, while I cannot give you direct service. Is there any particular service I can do? This is in 1936. 2 weeks later, Abhay received a reply from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to the people who are not conversant with the languages of the other members. This will do much good to yourself as well as to your audience. I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher if you serve the mission to inculcate the novel impression of Lord Chaitanya's teaching in the people, in general as well as philosophers and religionists. Abhay at once recognized this to be the same instruction he had received at that first meeting in 1922. He took it as a confirmation. There was now no doubt as to the purpose of his life. What his spiritual master had said in Calcutta in 1922 had not become a chance remark, nor had that been a chance meeting. The instruction was same. Turn yourself into a very good English preacher. This will do much good to yourself as well as to your audience. So this is the last instruction what Prabhupada received from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.